Then I'm just too good. Like you said, I just don't have 5, 6, 7.
It's just a long. Yeah. All right, 7 o'clock, call the meeting to order, roll call,
Trustee Myers.
President.
Trustee Patel.
here. All right, pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Got a chance to look over the meetings. Approval of meeting minutes, regular meeting of March 10th, 2025. Any corrections? If not, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Vote?
Trustee Myers.
Yes.
Trustee Patel.
Yes. All right, the next trustee meeting will be May 12th, 2025 at 1454 Rome Corners Road at 7 p.m. Announcements, I just want to go say some things about the ceremony we had a couple weeks ago at our cemetery, the Sons of the American Revolution. It was a great morning. As you can see the pictures, the guys were dressed up in colonial uniforms, the women in colonial dresses. They had musket firing. It was really a great morning to recognize our Revolutionary War heroes in our cemetery. One of the things that I would like to mention is the fact that the condition of our cemetery was absolutely, to be honest with you, outstanding. We've made a lot of improvements through the years, putting water in, trees, everything was just the way it should be that you would expect. We replaced that white building some years ago. All the landscaping was done around there. And it was really, tombstone straight. It was really a great day. So, I want to thank Tyler and Tracy and Scott and Connor for getting the cemetery ready, and Berkshire stood tall that day. Very proud of them. So with that, we'll move on. Motion to approve purchase order 2025-4-1 payable to Elford Invoices in the amount of $200,000 for maintenance, building improvements addition. Mel, do you want to say anything about that? It's pretty self-explanatory.
Right, it's just additional invoices we've got. And when I did the initial purchase order, I didn't purchase it all out at one time. So this is just an additional one.
Okay.
And that is totally completed.
We have passed inspection. We are in, the roof has been replaced. So yeah, Tyler, there really isn't anything else for them to do. It's,
There might be 1 or 2 small things back there, but for all intents and purposes, we're fully using the entirety of the space.
That's good.
all right. Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Vote?
Trustee Myers.
Yes.
Trustee Patel.
Yes. Motion to approve blanket certificate 2025-4-2 in the amount of $157,214.44 for recoup charges for TIF on first semi-annual distribution of taxes 2024. Mel?
This is amount that the county took from our tax distribution. Tyler says it's the part that we owe the county, so they just take it before they distribute it.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 TIFs in which the county did some initial work that they're receiving their recoupment for.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Vote?
Trustee Myers.
Yes.
Trustee Patel.
Yes. Motion to approve purchase order 2024-4-3 payable to Delaware County Auditor in the amount of $1,276,000, $21.42 for the first distribution of the semi-annual tax 2024 for the Columbus Outlet Mall, pass through TIF. Now it's you again.
This is the TIF distribution that is given for the semi-annual tax distribution, but it doesn't come to Berkshire. It just passes through our books and goes on to the bank, but we still have to book it.
Okay.
Now, Tyler, out of that money, we've allotted quite a bit of it to the developers.
The entirety of the TIF proceeds for the Tanger Outlet Mall go directly to Tanger for one, reimbursement for roads, and then two, the new interchange going in.
Okay, so that was, okay, so it's for the new interchange too. Okay,
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
second?
Vote.
Trustee Myers?
Yes.
Trustee Zettia?
Yes. Motion to approve resolution 2025-4-R1, approving zoning application 25-007, the zoning change from agriculture to farm residential under Article 8 of the Berkshire Township zoning code. The property is at 11380 Vans Valley Road, Galena, Ohio, 43021, parcel number 4174400200100, and looking for a 2.05 acre lot split from original 31.7 acres. Dave, you and I saw this at regional planning. Do you have any questions on this? Right, this is a
Nope.
pretty much straight split.
I was at the zoning.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Vote.
Trustee Myers?
Yes.
Trustee Zettia?
Yes. Motion to approve resolution 2025-4-R2 to enter into a cash lease contract with Tom Cockrell to farm 29 acres located at southeast intersection of North Galena Road and Berkshire Road. Tyler, you want to give an explanation on that?
So the township received 28 acres from North Star over there at the intersection of Wilson Road near Berkshire Road, in which the Cockrells had been farming this land in the past and keeping it looking nice, maintaining the swale on the property. At some point, the township envisions using it for either open space, fields, park space, depending upon what the needs and wants the community are. Until that point, we thought it'd be advantageous to allow farmers to keep farming the land, receive some funds that could go into parks projects, and have the land continue to be well maintained until there is a set plan for it.
Okay, so the $4,350, will it be actually a line item for future parks, or how are we gonna handle it?
I don't think we'll keep a specific line item, but what we will do in office is per year as this continues to be farmed, keep track of the amounts and ensure that those amounts go toward park projects.
Okay,
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
second?
Vote.
Trustee Myers?
Yes.
Trustee Zettia?
Yes. All right. Motion to approve resolution 2025-4-R3 to enter into intergovernment agreement with the city of Sunbury and the village of Galena. Tyler?
This is the same intergovernmental agreement we passed a couple meetings ago. Some of the verbiage changed after some additional legal counsel looking over. This is just the sparsing of percentages of what each one of us will be contributing to the newly formed joint recreational district, which I'll get into later, but tasked with looking at all three communities and finding a community center to create for Berkshire, Galena, and Sunbury.
Now, how are the percentages? How do you come up with the
By
percentages?
population based upon regional planning. I think it's 50% Sunbury, 40% Berkshire, 10% Galena as of today. Then I believe there's a yearly look back to see those numbers change quite a bit to revamp the percentage.
So as our population goes up and Galena's, the percentages could change.
As long as one of us is growing faster or slower than another, yes.
But does that, as far as decisions made on the property, is it all a third, a third, a third?
So we each have 2 trustees on the board. So each individual entity has 1/3 discussion.
Okay,
Anything else?
No.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
second?
Vote.
Trustee Myers?
Yes.
Trustee Zettia?
Yes. Motion to approve Resolution 2025-4-R4 for the updated changes to the Berkshire Township Community Pavilion rental policy. Updates include added verbiage on sidewalks, cleaning, and grilling. Tyler?
That about covers it. We wanted to limit explosives and fireworks, and we're also going to go ahead and pour a pad for grills and state within the policy that grills must be located on that pad. If someone wants to bring grills, so it's not in somebody's way, in kids' way in the grass or in the actual pavilion itself.
That's good, because I know I was talking to Tracy, it's actually being rented more than the actual township hall now.
I think there are very few weekend summer days that is not rented, and we haven't opened for the season yet.
That was a great move on our part.
Anything else? All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Vote?
Trustee Myers,
Yes.
Trustee Vatila,
Yes. All right, moving on. Rod, you're up for the fire board.
All right, last fire board meeting, just for all of you that are here, we're actually looking for 4 or 5 new part-time firefighters. We just raised their hourly rate. Is the first year you get $18.75. Second year, you're at $19.25. And the third year, you're at $20.25. So if you know of any young or anyone that wants to be a firefighter part-time, send them for an interview. And then the last meeting, and I'll try and explain this as clearly as I can. The bottom of the fire station is going to be this color. Kind of far, but it's kind of a dark gray. It'll be from the ground to the bottom of the windows. And then you'll have a border like this that'll break between this and this. So the brick here is going to be the actual color of the building from the windows up. So, and then obviously it'll be this type of grout, so it's a lighter grout. And hopefully we'll be starting out of the ground here shortly. We got held up a little bit because of the rain, but everything's going pretty much on schedule.
Okay, next, I am up for the roads report. I would just like to say that we have been awarded a OPWC grant for 3B&K Road. This will be next year, 2026. And I want to go over just a couple figures here. The estimated cost of the construction for this project is $469,100. Berkshire Township, our cut is $30,036.50. The city of Sunbury is $455. Delaware County is putting in $91,474.50. And the OPWC grant, which they cover 74%, is $347,134. This will be from Cheshire Road roundabout to 3637, and it will be a mill and fill. So that is a very big cost savings on us and for us. And so we'd like to thank Delaware for giving us this grant, Chris Bosserman and Doug Riedel. So any questions?
I think that's our 5th OPWC. We had two on Dustin, one on Berkshire.
Right.
And you got one.
Donegan.
Donegan.
Yeah. Now this one. Yeah.
So the township we've saved a lot of money for.
We have. So this will basically get this road ready for when they put in the interchange and some of the other things that are going to be happening around that area. So once again, this will be in 2026. So, all right.
So can I ask a question?
Yep.
Seeing as how your roads, Golf Course Road, do you know where you go from South Galena to where are we going to do anything there? Because that's
I
getting pretty
think,
bad.
we're going to repave that, and then we're going to do the full depth repair on the outside of the entrance.
And so that's part of our 3-year plan in year 1, working with the county to fully repave the roads there.
Oh, so we're not going to do anything? Because I know that's getting pretty bad in there.
Well, it'll be this year.
It'll be this year. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, okay. So Tyler, you're up for the Joint Recreational District.
So the Joint Recreational District, which is Berkshire Township, Village of Galena, and City of Sunbury, officially met and became an actual organization this past month. And all three entities put 2 individuals that represent each political subdivision onto the board. Their first meeting was mainly legal requirements. So passing of bylaws, insurance, meeting each other, creating the chair, vice chair, treasurer, things of that sort. I'm really getting knowledgeable about what their duties are, what their role is. The plan going forward, they're going to meet monthly, and it is to hit the ground running. I think their first step is to figure out a way to survey and ask the entirety of all 3 of our communities what their wants and wishes would be for a community center, what it would look like, what they're looking for to have within it. And then after that, it'll be pricing out architects and bond levying, but that'll be farther in the future. Step 1 is, what does the community actually want?
So are you allowed to have visitors come in and listen?
It's a fully public meeting.
Okay.
So Tyler, when you go through that, how do you budget for like the price of land around here? Because that's a big expense, and to find it.
That's going to be one of the difficult tasks that they are burdened with, which is finding land somewhere that is hopefully centrally located for all 3 political subdivisions at a price that we can afford to pay. One, enough land to put the initial community center on, and hopefully then any additionals. The thought is it likely won't be fully built out for the first push, kind of how Westerville did their rec center. It wasn't what it is today at first. Start small and then grow, so you need to make sure you have adequate land for that growth. That's probably going to be one of the harder portions of what they're looking to. On the back end, once they figure out plans, purchases, what can happen is a political subdivisions could go purchase the land and then be recouped by a bond issuance approved for by the voters. So no taxes be put on absent a voter approval.
All right. Dave, you're next for Livingston Trees.
First of all, I want to say the zoning hearing this evening approved the zoning for ordinance. There's a 30-day waiting period before it officially kicks in case your neighbors don't like it and they want to put it on the ballot and let everybody vote. It's important that they understand that. I told you last month that I'd follow up with this month. Discussion of the trees up in Livingston. For those who aren't aware, last month we got into, there's some trees that were planted way back when the Parade of Homes was there. And, well, let's face it, the wrong trees were planted. They're too big for the area. They're pushing up the sidewalks, and it's been 9 years. So a couple of the homeowners out there have asked about it and trying to research it. I kind of put a plan together, met with an arborist out there, Boyd Brothers, who we used a couple other times, and we talked about getting those trees out and replaced. I had an idea in the back of my mind, just grabbing clouds at $12,000. Price came back at 18 to tear those 22 trees out and replace them with different trees. I'll also explain to you, I was going to visit with the Weiler family and see if there's any opportunity for them to help. The whole idea is to try to solve the problem. The homeowners bought their homes in good faith, thinking there were trees planted that were proper. I had a property in Delaware, the same situation. The city planted street trees, and then they told me I had to fix my sidewalk because it was heaving the sidewalk. I wanted to take the trees out. They said, you can't. You have to leave those trees there. So I said, well, then you need to fix my sidewalk. Well, it was all said and done. You know who wrote the check to repair the sidewalks? And it's pushing again. And that's been 5 years. So that area is going to be the same way. So I have sympathy for the people up there. Maybe we as a township should have done a better job of monitoring. The landscaper that planted the trees went bankrupt. There's nobody to go back after. Skip, I don't know why he says he has to get North Star involved, or NRI involved, so I started communication there. I got a real long email today from Steve Lark and basically said, hey, it's their problem, they own the trees. I'm not done, but it doesn't look all that promising. You know, we can only lean so much. But I also know Berkshire Crossing, which is the homes for rent up there, they did not put the path in along Wilson Road or the wood fence. And I got a hold of them, they immediately responded, it wasn't part of the development plan, therefore it's not going in. And so I responded with a couple points that, you know, they had promised, and all of a sudden I got an email like a month later, hey, the path's going in and we'll get the fence in. So I think their first reaction is to say no, hoping you go away. My hopes, if they could share part of the expense, the township could share part of the expense. And because the money's greater in my mind than I thought it would be, that possibly the homeowners would, you know, have to pitch in too. But it was something that was done in such a rush, there was no monitoring. NRI has told me today that, hey, we have studied all our trees, our arborists say this is what, and those trees are fine. We know it's not. You know, Mike's been up there and seen it. When you got a sidewalk that's, you know, 2.5 inches up, because the tree root, they've already cut the tree's roots once, that it's a problem. So to wrap it up, I'm not done. That's where it's at today. We're still in communication. I really do feel North Star needs to do something on it. I have had some other questions for him today on some other trees, because we don't get to approve street trees. They approve what street trees get put in. Township has no say on it based on their documents. So as I went back to Ivywood, a development they're just starting, they in there spell out the street trees, and the street trees are not on the accepted list that they have for street trees, if that makes sense. So they're not following their own rules. So all I got in response to that, well, we'll have to look into it. So long story short, we're still into it to see when we get done. It's a problem. I hope maybe I can get everybody together and get it solved. Again, my hope was the township would be willing to participate financially, some to help clean that problem up. So it's 22 trees.
I think we really need to cooperate with this, because I will tell you, this sidewalk is a danger. Doesn't matter if it's for a healthy person, an elderly person. I mean, when you have a sidewalk that's coming up this high, and we're not exaggerating, you're talking a real danger for someone. And then who's going to be liable?
Yeah, the homeowners are liable.
Right, but
And it would be nice if the homeowners had the blessing from the developer that the developer did it right. But when the homeowners built those homes, street trees got put in, they have to put the trust in the developer and somewhat in us.
But are you saying that they put in on the development plan, they put in the trees that were on the plan? Or not?
There were never any trees defined when they started that Livingston area.
Okay.
That was all the first step. And it was in such a hurry to get that parade of homes. There wasn't even a street put in. There wasn't a paved street put in for the parade of homes. And they did it up there.
So
It was
they-
all so quick.
They went ahead and put in what they felt they wanted to put in, rather than, because I know there's some trees that you just don't put along the road, but they did it.
These elm trees can be considered a medium to a large tree. So read definition, 50 to 75 foot tall in a 5-foot grass strip. It's not right. But at the 11th hour, as they were trying to get those homes wrapped up and get ready, all of a sudden they realized we gotta have some street trees in here. So they found somebody that said they had trees and planted them. And that person's long gone now, so there's no recourse on them, but I think we all have some responsibility here. So I would, hopefully, we can get something done. The homeowner's liable. If somebody trips and hurts themselves on that sidewalk, it's theirs.
Right.
And they kind of inherited what NRI, North Star, and ourselves allow.
But when you buy your home, you expect the proper things, trees to be put in, and nobody would ever know.
Well, I'd asked them for a list of what they consider approved street trees, NRI. And she sent me a list, and I said, these aren't street trees. Oh, okay, well, these are the ones you can plant in your yard. So we don't have a list of street trees. And then 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, here comes this list of street trees that they approve. And so it's kind of, it doesn't pass the smell test,
Right.
but it's not the first time things didn't pass the smell test, but like the path and the wood fence, it did work out at the end, so.
Well, I know when we're building the fire station, I always thought that Berkshire Township told you what kind of landscape to put in, but then I found out that Berkshire Township doesn't. It's the, who is it, Nationwide.
Yeah, they have their North Star design documents.
Right.
And I have that book, and I think they have regretted that we ever got a hold of it.
So do you think the fire stations should look at some of the trees they've suggested we put in? Because I don't know what they're putting in, but I know they told us what we could put in and what we couldn't put in.
Anything up there is written that all landscaping is responsibility of the builder, with the exception of street trees. And Nationwide is the one responsible for those street trees. So whether they're paying much attention to it or not, I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's something to look at.
Right.
So do
Street
you have
trees
a
can be
list?
very beautiful for a subdivision, really make it look nice, or I hate to see what that's gonna look like up there.
So do you have a list of trees that shouldn't be put close to a sidewalk?
No, I have a list of trees that should now.
Okay. 'Cause
I talked to a couple landscapers, Todd Ferris, if you remember him, I can't remember the name of his company, but he's in here quite a bit. Quite a few builders use him. And just kind of one-on-one, he come up with some trees that could fit in there. And that's ever changing. We all thought ash tree was the greatest thing for Ohio. You know what happened to ash trees, that changed. So.
Okay, so you will keep us informed. Then
Yeah, I'll
sooner
go
or
look
later, we're
around.
gonna have to make a decision of we have to act.
Yeah,
So I guess you'll keep us informed as we've run out of options and then we have to act.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dave. All right, moving on to Delaware County Health Department for Alex.
Good evening. Actually, I have several announcements. The first one being, we have developed a environmental health complaint guide that I think will be very informative and useful for residents and community members. You can access this on our webpage, but if you can't locate it, just contact me. It essentially splits it up into categories on what we can and cannot investigate in terms of nuisances. So again, I think it's very informative. Secondly, we're having a community shred day. So if your offices have any type of banker boxes, or for anyone resident-wise, you're limited to 6 banker boxes. It's a free event. It's happening on Saturday, May 3rd, at 9 a.m. to noon. You can come to the health district, and again, it's a shredding event. Any type of staples or paper clips on there is acceptable as well. And then we have just recently announced our spring clinic tour. So I think I mentioned before that we have a new mobile medical unit that's going out around the county, and we've announced some dates and times where we're going out and administering some vaccines in clinics. So you can access that schedule on our webpage as well, or contact me. We also have a few classes coming up, one of them being some breastfeeding classes for new and expecting mothers. You can access that on our webpage. And then we have a new program called Walk with Ease. So anyone 55 and up, it's a 6-week program starting in May. It's free. You can come to the health district for hosting. It's informative, and then we will be taking a walk. So for anyone that I know that was very excited about the new paved path, if you want to expand your horizons, just contact me. And then lastly, we have come out with our 2024 annual report that's also available on our webpage. So that just gives you a snapshot on how many birth and death certificates were issued in terms of environmental health, how many restaurants and pools were investigated or inspected, how many diseases were investigated, and screenings and vaccines were administered and things like that. So that's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move into public participation and come up and state your name and try to keep it 3 minutes. Your address.
Hi, Ellen, Village Drive. I have 3 comments. One, I have to second Mike's comment about the cemetery. I have 2 family plots up there, and I obviously went and decorated for the holidays, and there were a lot of grave markers and things like that. So I was up there during the winter, and I know the rules are you have to take that off by April 1st, and I was up there today, and Mike is absolutely correct. I did not go to the event that you had, but the cemetery looks beautiful.
Right.
The trash was taken away, the grave blankets were cleaned up. I mean, the dandelions are coming up now, the grass is growing, but it looks very nice, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I have a question about the resolution 2025 R4 R2. Is Tom Cockerell paying the township to farm, or is the township paying him to farm?
He's paying, we're paying, wait a minute.
He's paying
us.
Okay,
Per acre, just like any other farmer.
well, when I
would.
saw that on the agenda, I thought, really, that's to farming? Also, I was there for the groundbreaking of the new fire department. And the chief approached me afterwards. He had found out that Tom had passed. And he said to me, if you need anything, give me a call. Well, 2 weeks ago, my fire alarm, my smoke alarm in the house went in. I'm 81 years old. I should not be getting up on the ladder. I called the chief, and he had 2 firemen come out within a half an hour to change the battery in my smoke alarm. And I so appreciate it. Because when he said that to me, I thought, what could I possibly use? And then when they beeped all night long, and I thought, do I get up on the ladder? And I was so appreciative that there was never a question. He said, I'll get 2 guys out there. And again, they were there within half an hour to change the battery. So again, please pass that on to the
Well,
chief. that I
that's a
was
service.
appreciative.
That's a service a lot of people don't realize that we provide. If someone's got problems with their smoke detectors, all you have to do is call us and we'll be out there and check them and make sure they work. So I'm glad that he responded so nicely, because that just makes the fire department look nice.
Well, and I don't even know how he found out that Tom had passed. And also, the fire department was out probably 6 to 8 times the last couple of months. Tom was alive for patient assist. And all those guys were so nice to come out, which again is not, as long as they don't take you to the hospital, there's no charge. And there was no way I could turn Tom, or if he fell, to get him. So I so appreciate that service.
I'll tell him.
And thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Last call. All right, if not, then I will make a motion to pay the bills.
Second?
Vote?
Trustee Myers,
Yes.
trustee Vitale,
Yes. We're going to skip executive session until Paul gets back. next month. If there's anything, then Tyler will inform Rod and I, and of course Paul when he gets back, if there's anything regarding this. So with that being said, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Vote?
Trustee Myers?
Yes.
Trustee Bertond?
Yes. All right, thank you, everyone.
Yes, sir. Talk to you, Mike, at the same time. Well, first of all,